Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today, we're back. We are doing that follow-up story to Kingdom 134's LTS and the group that Juzu as the R5 led out of the kingdom to go and join Kingdom 40 with TFS. Now, you may recall when we covered this story a few weeks ago, it was a small group, mainly management, kind of a quickest decision, which Juzu himself confirmed, and they left. With most of the players still being in 134, which we can see now rebranded. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to stay, but at least at the moment, you could see there's still a decent amount of people that are here, despite some that have left, whether they went to 40 or elsewhere. Today, we are going to be sharing with you feedback from members that were in LTS, maybe some might still be, but from their perspective on how things went down during a time when LTS and Juzu were probably being memed out of existence, especially if you go back on the COD Memes channel on the official Discord, you're going to see a lot. So without further ado, if you enjoy the content, as always, make sure you throw us up, because it helps out a lot. Thanks. Okay, let's get right into it. There's a lot of screenshots to share. We're going to go left to right, and this is as big as they get, but I will read everything. Now, most of the people here were okay with being named. We did things a little bit differently this time, but there was one that was had preferred to be anonymous, again, at least for what we're going to be showing visually. Okay, let's dive into it. Across 7 seasons, my heart remained intertwined with the Alliance LTS. Until recently, stood as a beacon, an exemplar of opportunity and inclusivity within the game. It was a collective creation. Each veteran player and leader shaping its very essence. The memes circulating now are merely echoes, reverberations from the events that transpired. I'm really debating on how intense I want to bring out the Morgan Freeman tone today. Juzu, undoubtedly burdened by recent commitments, was not always the ever-present figure he once was. Yet, his moments online heralded a return to form, strategic wars unfolding via voice chat, replete with meticulous control. However, the recruitment of an experienced R4 officer several seasons prior proved detrimental. Lacking leadership acumen, they made questionable decisions and deflected blame. Perhaps they simply lacked the time, expertise, or motivation to contribute meaningfully. I feel like I'm reading a story to my kids. Now, on Server 40 with TFS, I've found camaraderie and contentment, while whispers of past dramas reach my ears. Do they now? They lack the sting of LTS's unraveling. The irony is palpable. Yeah, it is. The very individual what's shielded, I'm throwing it out. Shielded by these same individuals now vociferously, I want to go with vicariously. I think that's right. Disparages Juzu. I mean, you're testing your boy right now, but I feel like we're okay. This man, barely present in the game, dedicates a mere 2 hours weekly, yet his voice rings loudest with accusations of inactivity. A couple of seasons prior, circumstances compelled my departure. I frequently voiced my concerns directly to the leadership, opinioning that we lacked sufficient, or is it opening, that we lack sufficient opportunities for active engagement. Regrettably, my observations necessitated pointing out perceived shortcomings within the existing command structure. This elicited a response, the specifics of which I won't elaborate on, though I strive for candor. I love that I learned about the word candor from Insurgent, or Divergent. Yeah, what's that guy's last name's Kim, the Asian actor? Yeah, he played, not Abdication, forgetting what it was. But yeah, he used that word and I was like, oh, that's a good word. I'm going to Google it. And I learned it and I was like, oh, I like that word. I extend my deepest gratitude to Hypno, who consistently stood by my side and offered unwavering support. Now we fight together in TFS, a partnership that brings us immense joy. He was a valuable R4 in LTS, and he courageously left alongside me. They're coming out right now. Despite his long tenure there with his second account, it was a pleasure to have him in voice chat, ready to battle. I know many LTS players cherished his presence. Currently, a profound sense of melancholy washes over me when I reflect upon LTS. It feels akin to reminiscing about a fallen alliance, a memory tinged with both fondness and sorrow. I'm going to be honest, I want to cry. Just standing ovation. We're only on the first screenshot. We're like 5-6 minutes in. Who would have thought? We need to speed through some of these. Okay, next screenshot. Sashi to Holy, right? Why don't you write an essay about me? Huang Chen, who's a better primary? It's Special Love. I know, like how they kicked you, now you defending him. Don't forget to ask him how his 1 bill kills. I wonder who made 80% of them. Right, this was the whole thing where like it was being touted, right? Sashi was playing the account and then Juzu apparently wanted it back, whatever it was, right? And then he ended up getting off of it. And that's, I believe, some of the spiraling, maybe some passwords were changed, who knows? Now, no, I'm just amazed that you were under their protection for a long time, and thanks to the fact that they were AFK, you had something there. And now you use memes to insult them, a bit two-faced. Sashi, oh my God, like I'm ready to like a meme about Juzu from anyone but not you. Wait, what? He did start saying his sad story. Juzu can come kiss my arse, useless inactive mofo. Jeez, it's getting intense now. But you, the same inactive mofo that also killed LTS. Me inactive, damn, first time I heard this. Well, like an R4 format, yes. Pilot 55, leader 05, damn. I mean, it just, okay, that was funny. Ask him what was my job. So again, not maybe denying that. Okay. Next one. I know without him, he is also funny. He put the troll in the place of the diplomat. Okay. Juzu was like Sashi. All you had to do is be online and kill all day on LMB account. And it's what I did for 3 seasons. But yeah. But now starts saying bad stuff about me, lol. He the one who has a big arse ego and everyone saw that. Well, you could at least take care of the players a little and go to Discord at least a couple of times to be a leader and not a pilot. From the outside, it looks exactly like this. I don't care about the outside. I was the most active in LTS, lol. It's all that was needed. Well, then LTS didn't have a warlord. So it's interesting that there's like these confirmations of you have someone in an officer position, but they're quote unquote a pilot. So they're really just there to be an active player and not anything more. Is that the understanding? I mean, if that's the case, why have the account as an R4, just move it down to an R3? That is kind of interesting area, right? Because it's like, okay, you have this supposed situation of someone who is piloting and playing on someone else's account to stay active, to utilize it. That account is an R4 of an alliance. Should that person then need to be an officer and fill those responsibilities when to them, quote unquote, they are just there to be active? My thought is just move the account down to an R3, right? Don't have, again, especially if people don't want to be an officer, don't kind of put the burden on them for that. So I kind of lean a little bit on the other side of it, where it's like that really just kind of has to be a management call. However, I'm just not really a big fan of the whole piloting thing because it just doesn't, it's not a pure, unique, active player, right? Especially if they're not in the kingdom. So that it's just, I just don't think it's really good overall when you think about, do you want a unique player or are you just doubling up on people here and there? Or spreading people thinner, right? Okay, so here we go. So I think it's also kind of funny who will believe in this. He was never online. The leaders was presidents and warlords. So I ask, right, so you feel that Juzu was not as active of an R5 as some were making him out to be. I can say that he is just not so stupid. There were many times when he was online 24/7. Okay, so again, praising. In recent seasons, he was rarely online. But every time he was online, he tried to make everything to the maximum. Tried to find R4 who could fill the time when he was not around. Tried to treat everyone with understanding. Unfortunately, either there were no people suitable for this, or it seemed to him that his new R4s were truly the best of the best. I saw a moment in your video where he says that no one approached him or tried to talk to him before migrating. He is not lying at this point. Interesting. We get a confirmation. People did not want to enter into a discussion. At the very beginning, I made a mistake and told him a couple of names. As a result, in the next season, these people had some problems if they did not twist the situation in time into a format convenient for them. When I wrote to them, that many people were going to migrate, they also took it as a joke simply because I did not mention names. Most likely they just didn't understand because there wasn't enough contact with the players and they heard a bunch of nonsense from these R4s they recruited a couple seasons ago. I believe this is to be true because I witnessed the changes that occurred within the Alliance a few seasons ago. Before the pilot ascended to R4 and LTS, again, I'm assuming that's Sashi, the atmosphere was quite different. There were no insults directed at players, no incomprehensible actions, and a great deal of activity. However, as time went on, players began to leave the game, largely because that pilot seemed uncomfortable when anyone else was in the spotlight instead of him. As a result, many prominent players began to avoid him to steer clear of conflict. Additionally, this pilot frequently solicited likes for his memes in the chat and used his influence to humiliate others, seeking support from those who might join in. At times, he would divert conversations to obscure topics in an attempt to deflect attention. While holding the R4 position, he even threatened me with mass bullying if I didn't comply with his wishes. So this is interesting when you talk about this idea of you recruit R4s, but as the R5, you have to kind of be the most objective in a sense when it comes to how your R4s are overall, keeping tabs, doing audits to a degree. Sometimes even like a really good tactic I used to do is I would go and ask players anonymously to fill out an anonymous form. It would just go to the lead, and it would be for them to share feedback with me on officers. Sometimes I would just go directly to players and ask them, hey, I saw that there was like this interaction happening a little bit earlier today. It seems like the R4 was there. They might have reached out to you in DMs. I just wanted to follow up and just see, hey, was that a good interaction? Did they help you out? Were you able to get everything resolved? Doing things like this, especially when you approach it with a complete open mind, it allows for you to appropriately and once again objectively really step outside of you looking at R4s as, okay, hey, we're only friends and nothing else, right? And then you're not really standing on business, which that means essentially sometimes if you got to cut a player loose, you cut a player loose. And essentially where we're going with this is that you just need to be on your game and you have to pay attention to these things. And when things happen and when they come up, you have to address them appropriately. At times, you need to be the first person to address them. And there's a lot that really goes into being an R5. One of the things that you can't do as an R5, and arguably maybe a little bit less, but still as an officer, is you can't run away from conflict. You got to approach it and you got to tackle it head on. And at the end of the day, that isn't always going to be the most comfortable thing for some people. Okay, next. I don't really know what this is, but this was sent to me. One more message from you. I'm going to troll you so bad. You are going to stop opening chat for a year. Yeah. I don't know who that was, but I mean, that sounds pretty aggressive. But yes, before this person, a couple other LTS was the best place in the whole game. So you feel, oh wait, here, probably, definitely this part. Oh wait, here we go. So we'll definitely haven't heard this stuff. Probably just something happened or he got tired playing with the same enemies. Okay. Well, I definitely haven't heard this about Sushi. Again, imagining that's who that was. If that is who you mean, is the pilot. And then it says, almost sounds as you feel or noticed a bit of a disconnect between management and the players, as though management was more reactive compared to proactive, or keeping themselves, however many of them, at arm's length with their members. Maybe not socializing as much or befriending at times to maintain relationships. Is that what you mean here? And then I said, for this part, you feel maybe the vetting of those chosen for management may not have been as strong or diligent as to let someone like this slip through the cracks. And then I obviously did some butt dial calls. That was an accident. Well, for example, 2 situations. You noticed a mistake, wrote to the leader or R4 about it. He assessed the situation, made a decision. 2, you saw a mistake, wrote about to the leader or R4, and he decided that you were against someone and just personally hate someone. Meanwhile, you just want to solve the problem or get an answer. In the second situation, it seems to me that communication is broken. And it's not a question of friendship. I was also an active player who played not only on my own account, but I really can't blame them for it. It's just a huge flow of information that was falling on them from all sides. This is already something personable. I can just say that if a person is good, then sometimes not the best people try to use him for their own purposes. And many in LTS know Lisa like a very kind person, so it is what it is. And then obviously, you see like things like that where I had asked for permission. Again, that's, again, mostly something that we're typically doing. These individuals were part of the leadership team for the past 3 seasons. And I recall how one R4 built flags without considering the territory. Another used players as human shields during his rallies with Goresh and Skogul, and a third spent his free time, sometimes with chatting in game, only engaging in battles when it was convenient. However, none of these leaders contributed meaningfully to the alliance. One leader even came to the alliance and remarked that R3 was boring. Good old daddy Juzu granted this individual position on the leadership team. Subsequently, we as participants learned that this person would have the authority to decide who to expel from the alliance, even though someone could easily take offense over trivial matters and assume the role of perpetual victim. Players observed a person who incessantly complained about something frequently disappearing only to return and seek sympathy from everyone about these unfortunate events. We saw a pilot leave the game due to the war in his country, which miraculously ended in just 2 days, and he returned a month later with demands of his own. But do you know who did not witness? We did not see any evidence of strategy, calm gameplay, or effective participation. I know that Hypno, despite always being in HR, stepped up to lead battles simply because no one else was taking charge. It's likely that Juzu was genuinely preoccupied during that time. I became increasingly aware of the situation as I began receiving letters informing me that I was not active enough. This was perplexing, given that joining battles was nearly impossible when they spanned 2 hours in the middle of the night, often without even a voice channel available. All that seemed required of the other pilot was to deploy troops and then unwind in the world chat. I edited, in my opinion, Juzu was mistaken in 3 key areas. He entrusted the alliance to 3 individuals. He failed to address obvious shortcomings. He didn't take timely action to resolve the situation. It's also important to note that while 2 of these individuals were somewhat active, the third person contributed only 3 million merits over an entire season. As an alliance, we often found ourselves acting as a psychologist for this individual. At one point, they even had access to the Kraken account, but for some reason chose not to use it. I understand this person was not expected to compile statistics for the alliance. However, it is impossible to assess their work since none of the LTS participants ever saw these statistics. Instead, they were only made available to the leadership team. Okay. Next, thank you for the write-up as given the amount shared here as well as the others. I will definitely make a follow-up. Thank you. By the way, about merits, 120 players out of 200 one season ago, less than 10 million merits 1 week before KVK. And why? Because there were no normal battles. When I said this, I was kicked and banned from teleporting to the KVK map. Instead of battles, players just saw memes from Musashi about how A2A is not capable of fighting alone. 5 versus 1 is a difficult KVK, but players don't want to see just an empty server where that pilot chooses the same timing to spend infantry. And literally, even at this most inconvenient time, the enemies are already ready to kill everyone in full force. Okay, next one. So these are some people that are okay with their name being shared, right? So this person was Odin. Got to take some time. Going to take some of your time with my long essay. Hey, BN, thanks for being open to listen to all sides of the story and get to the bottom of the truth. I migrated to LTS multiple seasons back. If I'm not mistaken, I spent 5 seasons in LTS. I grew a lot in LTS. I'll be trying to go through these a little quicker and increase my activity and spending by a great deal to be competitive and strong. Everyone who knows me can vouch for me to be a loyal member and always there for all planned events as well as KVK. My issues with leadership started multiple seasons ago. One of the reasons was that leadership was never open to ideas or suggestions. For example, Juzu did not answer my messages multiple times. It is not a big deal, but in my opinion, that is not a way to treat your loyal members. Another thing was our diplomacy was non-existent. I understand when we get matched with the same opponents, there is not much you can do. However, I mean, preach to the choir for a lot of others. However, other than the Gen 2, Gen 2's flourishing right now. Yeah! Gen 1, no, sorry. Other than the first 2 seasons, we have had 3 more seasons than we can ally with other servers, and for some reasons, we always had an excuse why it didn't happen. Again, this is not the end of the world, just another negative thing I wanted to mention. Okay, we've been doing so good. Locking it. Eventually, after the 3 losing seasons, the leadership decided to move from G1 to G2. That's okay. But they picked a G3 ally who could not keep up in G3. Once our G1 started, our R5 was rarely online. When he was online, there was a lot of blame thrown around on players. He mostly suicided his troops toward the end of the day to show he had some merits. Bastion placement was horrific. Build plans don't coexist with fight plans. War callouts were rare to none. We never had a behemoth present on the ground. Even when R4, like Darkness, asked, no R5 and no Beastmaster activity at our uptime was horrible. We consistently got our butts kicked. I lost all motivation to play, especially after hearing excuses from the R5. We are Spartans, and we are doing great. I don't mind a losing season. However, if we are always losing for the same issues, I don't think it's fair to members of the Alliance who sacrifice their time and money for someone else's incompetence. One other thing was how Juzu dealt with Sashi. Why did I say sushi? It's Sashi. Apologies there. By throwing him out of the server when he was the main fighting force of the Alliance for multiple seasons. Sashi was racking up 70 million merits on Link's Assault. I understand Sashi had RL issues due to war in his country, but why throw him out of Discord? Also, it is not my decision or business, but why take an account from a 70 million merits guy and then be inactive? Juzu had 20 million merits suiciding a 200 mil account when that account could have been used more efficiently to benefit the Alliance. Just to clarify and help you understand, Holy was kicked and threatened to be zeroed because she talked bad about the leadership. That's why all the memes. So this is somewhat interesting, talking about the kind of suiciding the troops, saying, where is it? Data show he had merits, Bastion placement. Kind of like, I wonder if this is a reference to Sashi, like you're an R4, but you're not doing it. That's kind of similar to what we heard from the previous person. I mean, if so, you're kind of getting two different positions here. Obviously, yes, this is kind of two sides of the other side of the fence, but these people gave me individual responses, right? So you're not really seeing like, oh yeah, they just wanted to just give a joint statement, if that helps. Just to clarify, to help you understand, right? So, and this is just showing you that it is the same screenshot. I tried to like take screens so you could see part of the previous conversation, so it doesn't make it seem like it's just cropped out. There just wasn't a whole point to screenshot the entire Discord interface. After I decided to leave, I reached out to Darkness because I was close to him. I decided, I'm going to be honest, I thought Darkness was a girl the whole time, but I never said she. So thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. I decided not to announce my departure, not to cause drama in the Alliance. Throughout the season, multiple people reached out saying they were leaving, asking me to join them, or if they could join me. There was absolutely no poaching. Past few seasons, I was top 10 Alliance merits, even though now it is claimed that my account was piloted and I was inactive. All PvE events, I was top 5, if not better. After I migrated, Juzu claimed inactive account left. I never tried to stir any drama up, even when Juzu reached out. When he found out I was leaving, I didn't want to create drama and purely explained that I felt unappreciated and it was just time for me to move on. The amount of shiitake talking about people who left was crazy after my departure. To be honest, that was exactly what I expected by someone who never owns up to his shit. And that was the main reason why I left. Basically, just proved my point. The number of active fighters that left LTS speaks for itself. I don't want to name names. Either way, there are a lot of friends that I still have in LTS and I wish them the best. I hope my explanation will help you understand the situation better. I am not trying to be salty about anything. I am very happy where I am right now, and I am better off than I was in LTS. Thanks for your time and trying to get to the truth, Odin. Thank you for sharing. Then there was just a couple screenshots that I got. -2, and this might be in reference to what he was saying, like the negative inactive accounts, just kind of showing that was said, if that's the moment, right? I mean, obviously, I don't think he mentioned the -2. This is a screenshot. Interesting that you've felt this way and never brought it up, reached out, or came to me at all for anything. I feel like you and Ents are two of some of the most praised and appreciated players in all of LTS. It's weird that you both feel unappreciated and undervalued. Now, again, it's not like he shared his entire chat history, right? We have to obviously give the disclaimer there. This is just this is just an add-on to what Odin was saying earlier, right? We'd have to see the entire thing to see if there was never a moment reached out there, or maybe in game DMs or in some other facet. But I imagine this is just to provide context to what was said in the text. Okay, now, Darkness gives me a response. So thank you, BN, for everything you do for the CoD community and covering all stories with their ups and downs. I wanted to say that I did not want to get dragged into this out of respect to LTS and LTS members, but it seems every day I do not say anything, my name is getting dragged into the drama more. I want to shed some light into your latest video, as there is much information were shared far from the truth. I tried to leave peacefully, and I even shared my respect to the leadership in my initial goodbye. Notice in Alliance chat, which was after I stepped down from leadership. This was at least 4 days before leaving. This is smaller text, so I'll be sure to read it. It says, I wanted to say thank you Thank you all for having me here. I've enjoyed our journey, banter, wars, and community. It's been a hell of an adventure. However, the time has come for me to start a new chapter and journey somewhere else. I will be migrating out after the season. I will miss you all, and I hope you stay in touch, as I will myself. LTS is great and will always be great. I want to send a special thank you to all leadership, Papa Juz, Deep Chica, Vladiska, Nestia, Roy Solel, Bunny, the Queen, Beastie, and Hypno for supporting me and making me feel like a family throughout my time here. And of course, our daily banter and fun. Truly thank you for being great, everyone. Love you all and wish you guys the best. Dark heart emoji. I was inactive last season compared to my usual activities, and I did mention that on multiple occasions, and that's due to multiple reasons. Work-related reasons, issue with Sashi, overall alliance activities from the top, lack of motivation. However, my activities were high compared to the people who are calling me inactive. I have way more death and merit fighting and defending than all of the people who called me inactive, and that was another reason why it got to me even more. The below screenshot is from COD Discord. And this one here, I think we're going to show that in a moment. Yeah. So this is the thing. Funny how you call someone inactive when he's more active than you. Anyone can get on and 5 march into the enemy. Being active means fighting when it matters, not when it's convenient for you. That's a fact. It's not a lie that Dark has been inactive this season. He's been busy with RL and said it himself. That's a fact. And I did say that, but compared to some, I was extremely active. I was inactive compared to my usual activities. When someone says I'm not inactive and they did more than I did, I have nothing but respect. But when it's coming from someone with less activity and behind my back, I don't know what to think of that. I don't want to be dragged on any unnecessary and uncalled for drama. Right, got 2 heart emojis there. And then this one, this whole thing should have not brought up to COD Discord and dragging my name into it, but well, here we are. Despite all of that, I did wrap it up there and tried to close it out in a nice way by bashing myself. Somehow, still, we made it into a YouTube video. I guess. This one, Roy sucks for disappearing on us. Makes sense now while LTS dead. Pulled a claw move. Rip Roy. He's been enjoying his vacation too much. We can't agree I wasn't active and useless. Let's all move on and focus on the future and have fun in the game. It's as it's meant to be. LTS was my home and will always be. And then obviously the lower part here is I'm a big believer that leadership motto should be leading by example. And the picture below is how I live by in real life in games. Unfortunately, we lacked that the past 2 seasons when we are asking people to sacrifice their troops when half of the leadership is not doing or not even there to help. Then blaming and pointing fingers at people instead of looking within and trying to fix the issues. I had 700K-ish dead last season from Bastion alone, but I understand why members stopped at some point, because if I'm thinking, why should I do it when others in leadership not doing it, then members are definitely thinking the same. And then you see this screen, manager and then leader, right? Kind of 2 different examples. Which, again, I understand that's a very broad and simplified version. There are different ways to lead as an R5. It just all comes down to expectations. If you're an R5 who's out there fighting and you're doing that, now, yes, you can make the argument as well that if you're going to be an R5 in an alliance and you're not going to maybe be fighting out in the field, right, then either, take up a spot when there's a free spot in there, or maybe join and leave if you need to. And then you can just have like someone else who's kind of like the placeholder R5, so to speak, or co-R5 or whatever it may be. I mean, there's ways to kind of get around those things. And even in some kingdoms, it's probably not much. You'll have an R5 who maybe doesn't really go out there and fight a lot, but they're just kind of an ultra manager, right? Ultra supervisor, ultra just let's go get things done. Okay, next. I did reach the point of even quitting or starting somewhere else fresh, and I've decided fresh start is overdue at this point. Now, my issue with how the leadership handled Sashi's situation was the first trigger for me. Sashi was loved by all members and the most active R4 we had in the Alliance. I've never heard anyone has any issues with him, and he was driving many wars when we are not around. He's insanely active and always there to fight. He was piloting LMB, Lisa's account, for probably over a year and was in everyone's eyes his account. Below is just a few of many messages, leadership admiring his activities. And I'll show that. 13 mil without merit farm exact number, and I haven't used my account at all. I mean, don't like 3 people actively play that account. 99% of it was me. That's fair. I know, right, Sasha? You gotta sleep. And then the bottom, all of a sudden, despite I was a part of the leadership, the account was pulled away from him and no one said why. I still don't know why, despite how many times I asked. Sashi had a war ongoing back home and his activity dropped due to real life war happening. It is understandable to focus on that and deal with real life threats. However, he was also kicked out of the Alliance Discord without any notice, and that showed not much value and disrespect to everyone in the leadership. And I did address that in officer chat, but no one did come to me with valid reason. Okay, so this one was, let me make sure I have this right. Yeah, okay. So this one was, yourself, you said he was going through stuff. I mean, what's worse than actually living the war? Trust me, I know how it feels and none of you do. All of his actions during that time are justified and should be understandable. No one still answered my question. What did he do in World Chat or Alliance Chat? Plus, we are one team, and this should have been discussed with everyone here. Not one thought how we would feel about kicking him out, just done and deal with it kind of approach. Now, maybe this was the officer post that Dark was referring to. Then him and Juzu worked it out somehow, and Juzu gave him his old account to pilot. Then again, after we left, Juzu took the account again without a notice, which got Sashi to call him out on it, and the whole meme started. And then here's that screenshot. This is from 134. That why Juz took back his account and leaving probably. I'm not active as well. Juz is the best active player in this alliance. Our Lord, Dead Arse leader. Was good knowing you guys. Alliance dead because the leader is dead. Don't follow him. He suck. He's probably going to delete all of this posse. Next time you can tell him before taking it back. Dog arse. Okay, lots of words. And I think that was, yeah, okay, so next. As a result of all the above, I've decided it's time to move, and I only reached out to a few people who I know they are going to leave and told them I will be leaving. The word did spread around quickly, and more people wanted to leave with us. I did not poach anyone despite they will say I did, and I respect their opinion. I mean, at least I admitted that you reached out to a few people. My answer to that, I did not, and if players are poachable, then instead of blaming me for it, look into why they are ready to leave and their loyalty switched from LTS to me. I mean, to be fair, that is a solid argument, which is the fact is that I've been in situations where I've had people try to poach players from kingdoms I was building, and you will get some players that may leave and some players that are like, no, I don't want to leave. I love where I'm at. So to me, if you have built a great culture and people love where they are, they'll just tell them to F off, and that's it. And then keep it pushing. If they don't like where they're at, then they may consider leaving. I mean, it's just that simple. So like to me, I don't really care if people poach in a sense, because even if you tell people you don't like poaching, you could still have those people message them regardless. I mean, yeah, sure, you could kick them out and do some things while they're in kingdom, but there's nothing stopping someone from just making an account in another kingdom and reaching out and saying, hey, would you like to come to this kingdom? And you can kind of like, I mean, there's a lot of little, I don't want to get into all these tricks, but like there's things that you could do, right? It's just, so yeah, but they're obviously talking about internal within. And yeah, I mean that, when it comes to internal stuff, yeah, I guess that is a little more iffy, especially if you're in the alliance and you're trying to do that. Now, if you've left and you've migrated out and then you're reaching out to people, I, for one, think that's okay. Because to me, that's just general recruitment. I don't think if you want to reach out to every player in an alliance and offer them something, because I'll tell you this, as someone who led a recruiting department, I used to do that stuff. I would go into a kingdom and I would just reach out to all the players in the alliance. And I would just say, hey, wanted to reach out. Now, I didn't do this all the time. And obviously, this is not the best thing to do. And I'm not saying I did it for every kingdom. But as an example, you might do this if you get wind of, and I'll give you a specific situation, right? It could be justified to do this, or it could be less bad, I'll say, to do this if you do it for a kingdom that you know is already imploding, or you know there's there's massive things that are happening there that's just causing a big shakeup. Maybe you get wind of people that are just going to end up leaving. That's a moment where you can say, okay, well, dude, I could reach out to every player in this. Now, if you haven't heard anything, if there's no public reports, then yeah, you're probably not just going to go reach out to a kingdom's worth of players. You could, but that might be unbecoming. So yeah, you kind of do that with your own. You kind of have to have like a moral compass or like a code of ethics to a degree that you operate with. Okay. These players respect my answer. Where was I? Lee. So, okay. These players are some of the top fighters in LTS, and unfortunately, leadership focused on who and where instead of why. Then, of course, blaming me for everything, calling me a snake, brainwash, etc., which made more players upset and join us if anyone poached players leave LTS. It's by these unnecessary comments. Calling me and other players' names and inactive, which made more and more players who consider us friends and family more upset, and as a result, joining us or other alliances. Before I hit migrate, I sent a message in Discord to remind all players that I love them and they can always reach out to me, and that was deleted for no reason. It's all fairness. My original message is still there, but not sure why the last one was deleted. Is this where I tell the masses that Dark said goodbye and that he loved you all, and the R-Force deleted his message instantly? There you go. Dark, at the end of the day, LTS was home for me and will always be. I hope this was an eye-opener, not only for LTS, but all leadership in the game on what to do and what not to do. Leadership is like marriage. You must always be there, work hard, communicate, and continue to build trust and the community. You cannot get comfortable and let it be, as we all know, the results. You will have a snake like me who will single-handedly destroy the Alliance. Lol, all the love and wish you everyone the best. Cheers, Dark. Okay. We already showed that one. Okay, now let's get to Fart Juice. This is a short one. Fart Juice says, thank you for reaching out. I first want to let you know that yes, I am one in many authentic air tulip, the anal audio, the backdoor breeze, the bottom burp, the air biscuit, or whichever beautifully permitted fragrance you so dread late at night when you're with that special some person. Oh, this is going to be good. I actually didn't read this entire thing, but I digress. Cutting short a possible soliloquy, I shall put you on some game in which information on past transgressions outline shame. Oh, yo, my man is cooking. That's Chef Boyardee. I'd like to point out that I watch these servers from afar, yet get up close and personal in their business. Juzu is possibly the least active contributing fighter that has ever been R5. Keep in mind, being an R5 doesn't mean that you have to be the most contributing fighter. I just want to kind of state that for the record. I have witnessed T4 players with 50 mil power perform more merits than his account, 180 million. I have witnessed him teleport to front lines in a war, blow bubbles, and AFK, guiding his team to lackluster performances. I forgot to screenshot his merits at the time, but it was around 8 million for his 108 million account when my CI 50 mil had 8.6 million merits. The LTS plan was doomed for failure at the start. They had too many pilots and not enough active warriors or a qualified war lead for strategy. And the absence of a war lead was something that other people have stated too as well. So that's pretty consistent. All the spenders that migrated to them in the past few seasons left or will leave them because incompetent leadership, bad diplo, washed aura, or terrible reputation. Mass amounts of players don't leave if the leadership is so good. It's obvious what the true issue is. I have numerous confidential informants detailing his deviously pathetic efforts. I stand by the leaking of this information, but I don't appreciate unwashed behinds. Keep up the good work, sirs, and I will keep a brown eye out for out everyone for you. Thanks, Fart. I so appreciate it. Okay, let's get to Enceladus or Ense. Hello, BN. I wanted to reach out to you because I saw your video and commented briefly. I was in LTS for 3+ seasons. I feel like we have another side of the story than from the failed leadership. First off, I am really grateful for my time there, and I don't want to give the wrong impression that I have nothing but hate. I learned a lot, met some really awesome people, and I will always be thankful for my time there. That being said, from day one, new recruits were always made to feel unwelcome. We were constantly reminded that one of us were spies, and some in the group were blatantly allowed in secret chats, and some not. I would have left the first season had it not been for one leader, the Darkness. He was only one that reached out to me to see how I was and always personable and approachable, not only to me, but all members. So it was natural for me to want to leave with him when we all had enough of how things were going. The major issues I had with leadership is that I did ask questions and they were either not answered or I was told to use the ticket system for basic things. When I was vocal, so this is my thing, dude. Okay. I don't know if they use the ticket system or not. But I will say this. Your kingdom, especially if you don't have, I'm talking like 250 plus, 300 plus players in there, where you have like 2 full alliances or more. You can't sit there and justify to me using a ticket system when you just need to be open in your DMs. And really the best thing, if you really want to do it, is treat it like a company, like a customer service or a call center. Have a Google Doc or some kind of library where you guys can have copy paste answers, because you may get a lot of the same questions, and having some copy paste answers for the most frequently asked questions is okay to do. And then other times you may need to have a more personal or customized response. But saying they have to submit a ticket and wait for a response, I'm going to be honest, man, that seems like that's too much. Like, you're taking too many steps right now. Now, maybe you could be using a ticket system because you want to record and you want to catalog everyone who asks a question. If you're getting a lot of questions, you should have an FAQ. You should have an FAQ regardless. And you should be tallying and compiling the most frequently asked questions and putting them in the FAQ. So yes, I understand why you may consider using a ticket system because you want to keep track of these things. I don't know. Part of me just feels like unless your alliance isn't at a certain point of being big enough, I just don't know if it's worth it, because most of the time answering questions in DMs is not like it's not like the R4s are keeping secrets from the other officer team on the 5 questions they answered that day. And usually if anything is important or relevant, they're going to put that in the officer chat or put it somewhere where the management team can see it. It's just how it goes. And if anything, just have a game plan, have a communication structure, have a flow of communication. So yeah, I'm iffy on that stuff. Where was I? I was already on the fence about leaving. With this rant, where was I? Things when I was vocal about how I felt, others, another R4 went and told Juzu, and he came to the alliance chat to humiliate and berate me in front of everyone. I was already on the fence about leaving, but when I was told to leave if I'm unhappy, then yes, I will go ahead. They did not want to take any accountability and always blamed members, and that was driven home with his rant. The other issue was Juzu and other leaders, NASTi, were inactive more and more over seasons. And this has been mentioned by a few others, right? But it was more about recent seasons. This past season, we'd been fighting for our lives, and Juzu was in Zone 1 chilling while sending DEFCON pings. Then he'd yeet troops through a pass to get his merits store, and at end of season, he scheduled multiple days of mock wars with BDO. That's where a lot of his merits came from. Well, that's interesting. I don't think we've heard that yet. And yet, he continues to tell people we were inactive. Not to mention, there wasn't one time we even tried to build towards and or take a behemoth. So yeah, members lost faith in them. There was no accountability, no willingness to listen to others and try to work things out. There was no war leading, no planning, no trust in members to share what the heck was going on. And if you dare say a single thing, you'd be trashed publicly. I think overall, what makes a statement is the fact that all fighters, groups, and individuals left. I think, left independently from each other. We were not the only group, but we are the group that Juzu has continued to bash. Attached are screenshots of the rant he directed to me specifically in chat. I believe someone sent already, but just in case. Also, I provided another example of how Juzu spoke to anyone that questioned any calls or lack thereof. Last screenshot is a brief conversation with another leader showing that we all saw his inactivity. If you need anything else or have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks. So I think these are the ones they're referring to. Right? And if the text is small, I'll still read it. So Juzu said, why would we be getting trashed for this season? Juzu, are you actually so unaware of what's been happening that you think we did a bad job? Juzu, you can leave now if that's the case, lol. Wake the F up and go read all the messages on Discord. Juzu, people are congratulating us. We've earned so much of the community's respect this season for the fight we put up against SSG and BDO. We are one alliance, vastly outnumbered, and we put up a crazy fight. Juzu, chill with all the negativity, negativity, and look at the bigger picture for once. This is in the Alliance chat. Juzu, half the Alliance isn't bleep dead. I don't know what that is. The bleep doesn't always mean that it's derogatory. We have 30 to 40 players who are a bit low on seasonal merits. This could be for a number of reasons. Juzu, if you yourself are out of troops right now, it's because you are playing wrong. Don't blame that on other people. We've been done fighting Zone 3 war for days. That's plenty of time to heal. If you've still been taking random fights for merits, that's on you. Just, yes, we have some dead weight, as does every alliance in the game. I imagine bleep happens. Even people like CoD and Sashi are less active than they once were. It happens. Next, Juzu, all we can do is recruit and move on and get rid of the dead weight. DSR, I blame darkness. Juzu, but in no means is half the alliance dead weight or 10% of the alliance actually helps. That's wild as bleep. I will say one last time for those who still don't understand what happened in Zone 3. Here it is. We played a great game the first day. We were down 3 bill. SSG was down almost 6 bill power. Difference is when they woke up, they RSS sealed 5 bill power while we were sleeping and decided to push. Meanwhile, we did not RSS seal that crazily. That's the difference. Amongst a few other things, that's the major difference here. Then we get, had we RSS sealed like them, we would have crushed them. We have the activity and we have the skill, leader, organization, but we lack the RSS seal and troops potential. They've been playing this game for an entire year longer than us. They save their RSS KVKs for moments like this. It's exactly what BDO did too. It seemed like we didn't even hurt them because they RSS sealed every step of the way. Here we go. They haven't used RSS in months, but used them in season because they saw how uneven it was and wanted to ensure a win. This is what G1 alliances do. We have been fighting from the ground up for 3 seasons, so it's only understandable that we don't have billions of RSS to spend on healing again this season. And that's okay. So what we lost, we gained a lot of experience and a ton of respect this season. We also learned things about ourselves and things we can do better. Most people in the alliance can be better at fighting, and it's things like this, it's things we will work on. Where is it? Most people in the alliance can be better fighting. Oh yeah, work on. We will remove the dead weight and recruit as needed to fill. That's all we can do in an alliance in a game like this. So stop with all the negativity, please. It's exhausting. It isn't that deep, and frankly, with all the Discord messages, it shouldn't still be being spammed. If you truly feel so badly, then leave. Let me see this last one here. At Ents in Alliance chat, the way you talk seems very unaware of the messages on Discord. I don't like the way you talk about the Alliance. If you want to take it personally, that's your choice. You know how appreciative we are of you and your activity. You've been told you multiple seasons now. If that's how you feel, then no worries. And this is at Chubby. I agree, but talking nonsense doesn't make the situation better when it's done over and over again in such a bad manner. All it does is tamper with the feelings of those who put loads of time into the Alliance. And then what are these other ones here? Oh, okay. I guess there's just some last ones here. I don't know, maybe know this. Did we have a war lead and voice today? Just fun and collect merits, I think. Okay. This person, I mean, war leads have one job and they can't even do that. Pitiful, to be honest. People need direction in this game or they just yeet troops. Yeah. Wasn't a war chat VC for a bit. This one, I mean, war leads have one job, right? You need war leads to tell you how to play the game. We aren't making some extreme push where we need leads to call it objectives. We're just fighting for fun and merits that we organize with the enemy. Just play the game as you should, know how to 9 seasons in, push, retreat, push, retreat. Leadership shouldn't need to handhold all day. That's not what we are here for. I'm going to be honest, man. This is pretty damning. This one, and again, we're talking about leadership here, right? So this one part of leadership that just says this, I completely disagree with. I don't care if there's only 2 people in VC. The great teams, the great alliances, the great war efforts are made because you are going the extra mile, because you are in VC communicating, coordinating, organizing, planning, preparing, and executing. That's kind of the whole point. Now, keep in mind, some people cannot be on VC in Discord. This is also one of the reasons why, if you remember, in one of the recent dev feedbacks or Q&As, they talked about looking into an in-game voice chat option. VC is incredibly important. Probably one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, that needs to be set up and ready to go before war starts. And it is one of those areas where you, just from you being in VC versus others, you can outplay people because you can get timings down. You can get skill activations down. You can coordinate a push, a retreat, a delay. These are things where timing is so important and potentially maybe underappreciated by some. So on that one, I just don't agree with. Now, this doesn't mean that, okay, all of a sudden Juz is an awful lead. I'm only talking about this one area. So yeah, obviously that's a little rough to see. I am not going to defend Juzu because I know what it is. Juzu has SME merits, same merits as me, and has rage quit every time he's fought and blamed us when he won't even make a planned ping and war lead. You don't think I'm not upset myself? I am. Instead, I'm trying to take care of the masses. I get it, but at some point it has to be realized it's still a game and there's still humans behind the players. Some are moving on. but it's hard to pretend and act like it's not happening. Where's Juzu? Where's NASTi? Where's any other leader in here speaking to us like human beings? And I will say this, right, about the situation is that there was a moment there, and again, I don't even know how long we're in now, right? Geez, we're almost 50 minutes. I mean, again, it's a lot, right? Because people shared, and I wanted to make sure to get everything. What I will say here is that one part in the Alliance chat messages where Juzu just had like a lot of individuals, I would either say like one of two things, but mainly one thing. Say what needs to be said at minimum and save that for an Alliance mail. Save that for a town hall. Save that for a Discord announcement. Save that for a King's mail. Or at bare minimum, as a backup, write longer posts. Yeah, because just saying that many posts, it's talking that much. I mean, he basically wrote half an Alliance mail at that point. At least it felt like, just because there was a lot. So I would just say condense that, simplify that. And know what needs to be said and not said. Now, there were some parts in some of what was shared where, talking about, chill with all, like, he said something here, right, that I'll mention, where he said here, right, chill with all the negativity and look at the bigger picture for once. This is kind of indicating, this could be taken as belittling, where you're basically saying the chill with all the negativity isn't really that bad. But when you combine that with the follow-up of look at the bigger picture for once, it makes it seem like you're calling everyone stupid and that they're not smart enough to see beyond what might be in front of them. Now, maybe not everyone took it that way, but when I read it like that, I could see someone taking it that way. Doesn't mean that I took it that way, but it's how could someone else view it? So like things like that, I think are really important when you're leading in any kingdom builder, and arguably maybe even any game, but I'll just say for kingdom builders for now, is the words you choose, the tone you take, how you respond, the way you act, the way you uphold yourself, the way you carry yourself. All of these things are vitally important. And keep in mind, not everyone is going to be a great lead. Some people might be better R4s. Maybe some R4s would be better R5s. Maybe some people in management probably shouldn't be in management. Maybe some people not in management would be great in management, but they just don't want to do it. There's a lot that goes into this. And what I will say, kind of ending, and this is just generally and universally, is one of the things I often notice is that as leaders in R5s, sometimes things like soft skills are one of the biggest areas that are missed out on, that are not present with current R5s. And I'm sure a number of people could point to examples of those. And at the same time, also tackling things head on, being willing to be comfortably uncomfortable, to dive into something that's uncomfortable and unfamiliar and address it in the best way that you can, not running away from it. And those are some things, just those two, that I notice quite a lot in a number of R5s that I have seen throughout my time, not just obviously for CoD, but through my time in Infinity Kingdom, Rise of Kingdoms. These are usually pretty consistent trends. And it doesn't mean that everyone does it, but it does mean some kind of fall into these holes. So that's it for me. Again, this is hearing from other people on that LTS follow-up. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, this is really just me about sharing their side and commenting in some areas where I feel it can be appropriate to do so. I have not been in LTS. I'm not there. So for me, it's just giving a platform when we cover a story to make sure that both sides are covered. As in the previous video, it was a lot from the management side. In this video, it was more from the non-management side. And I guess a little bit of management, but kind of on the other side of that fence, if you will. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. And as always, if you have a story you'd like for us to cover, slide into your boys' DMs. Until next time, we'll catch you next time. We'll catch you later. That sounded good.